Well, that guy just insta-locked Hanzo, or Widowmaker, or Genji, all the same thing. I pretty much lost anyway. Hey, what's up guys, Discount Force here, and today I would like to discuss what goes on in our heads when we see somebody insta-lock a hero on ranked, and what could go on in our heads when we are on the insta-locking side of the spectrum. Now, it is worth noting that this discussion does not necessarily have a lot of value in it, meaning it's not something that needs to be discussed, nor is it something that most people care about. But as such is the nature of this channel, I like to talk about things I find interesting, and this is one of them. So if you do want to weigh in on the discussion, do feel free to do so down in the comment section below. Just make sure you stay civil, and don't hope for some sort of major point to be made in this video that you didn't already think of yourself. With that out of the way, what is going on in our heads when we see somebody insta-lock a hero? Why would they do that? Well, it depends on which hero we're talking about. Every hero in the game has a certain stigma attached to them in regards to the average player choosing those heroes, and also in regards to their position in our current meta. Right now, I think barely anyone will get up in arms about somebody insta-locking a hero like Diva or Soldier, as those heroes are currently regarded as very strong. I mean, unless that person wanted to play those heroes, of course. I also don't think most people would object to you picking Ana, Lucio, or Zenyatta in most circumstances. On the other hand, if you insta-lock a hero like Widowmaker or Hanzo, a lot of people will get very angry very quickly. Reason being that those heroes are not regarded as very strong due to their lack of utility. In the case of Widowmaker in particular, her skill ceiling being very high with a direct connection to mechanical skill. In a game that caters to such a wide audience that far exceeds the general shooter crowd, good aim and tracking isn't the most common skill. However, precision-based heroes can be very powerful in the right hands. The experience of most players is that insta-locking heroes like that below a certain SR and without a sufficient amount of playtime are simply not delivering. A Widowmaker is sending her teammates into a teamfight with one man down right off the bat, but has the potential to affect the enemy positioning just by being a constant threat. This does not really help most random teams because, well, for this to be effective there needs to be a certain level of communication and faith in the skill of the other, which, let's be honest, is usually not at all the case. So for a solo queue Widowmaker to be truly effective, she needs to get 2 picks very quickly into a team fight to make up for her team being one man down, and then for them to get the numerical advantage, and that is not exactly easy. So it seems rather obvious that insta-locks on heroes that have a very high skill ceiling are frowned upon, especially when players already have a lot of experience with others picking those heroes and then playing their role ineffectively. Another reason certain heroes are high up on the list of characters I never want to see insta-locked is because they are easy to play, but even easier to mess up with, like for example Pharah and Junkrat. Before you get up in arms about me saying those heroes are easy, I'm not saying that there isn't a certain degree of finesse to playing these heroes effectively, because there more than certainly is, but as a matter of fact, both of these heroes can lay down a crap ton of damage on the enemies with a minimum level of effort required, especially compared to heroes like McCree or Genji. Anyway, the problem with those heroes is that as easy as it is to throw damage, it is also very easy for that damage to be used against them. A Pharah or Junkrat that spreads into the enemies and puts them all on half health but doesn't confirm any kills simply feeds into enemy support ultimates and possibly even Zarya charge. Even worse than a Widowmaker or Hanzo, which in those cases could simply be useless, those heroes are legitimately contributing to the team's loss in a big way. What I found very interesting is that I caught myself relating insta-locks to exactly those kinds of bad experiences and negative community stigma rather than this player being confident on their pick, as is the reason for my own insta-locks. For most people there's more than enough time in the loading screen to figure out which heroes they want to pick for any particular map. Most players want to lock their strongest hero for any given map as fast as possible to let their team know, hey, I know what I'm doing on this guy, and to make sure that nobody steals them. The problem is that not all insta-locks are rooted in this thought. There are a lot of people who were forced into a support or tank role in a previous game, and even when DPS might not be their strongest pick, they are sick of playing with people who aren't killing anything. Those players are usually already aggravated coming into a match and bring the tilt from the previous games into the present one. I feel like this could be the reason we have this negative, bad DPS insta-lock stereotype going on. Someone somewhere has just gotten tired of supporting that team and watching them kill nothing, so they take it upon themselves to do right that, but as we all know, if you tilt, you generally play worse, reinforcing said stereotype. I'm trying to figure out what exactly I think of all this myself. Part of me just automatically associates certain insta-locks to negative stereotypes, but is it really better when players wait a bit to just end up with the same hero? Is there any difference between an insta-lock Widow and a Widow that took like 10 seconds before picking? Part of me says, well, at least they considered their options and thought about what they're going to pick, but on the other hand, somebody locking them instantly might just be extremely confident on this hero. But then we do run into this problem of those players not considering their team's hero choices and by that attempt to force them to build a comp solemnly for their pick. For me personally, that is not a problem. I main Ana and Zenyatta, there are only a few situations where people even question me insta-locking those, and whenever I see my team make their picks and I start to get worried, I just ask them which support they'd like to have, as I'm confident in all of them. This is where some more opinions could come in handy. I have no idea what goes on in people's heads who main DPS heroes and what's the rationale for insta-locking those, and if they consider a swap when they see that their team does not build a combo around their pick. At the end of the day, all we can do is try to stay calm and not let those stereotypes anger us unnecessarily. I guess we're better off giving people the benefit of the doubt, or if we want to be certain, check how many hours they played on their picks. I think the worst thing we can do is getting angry and insulting immediately when we see somebody insta-lock heroes we have bad experiences with. After all, we don't know those players, and it doesn't necessarily become a problem until they die repeatedly and refuse to swap off. But this is me done for the day, talking about insta-locks in Overwatch. As always, leave all of your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out and enjoy the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you guys next time.
Quirty, are you a Genji only player?
Nope.
Okay.
He also plays Hanzo.
No, I don't like Hanzo.